Hi everyone, this is my second video diary. I wanted to share this a little bit because it's the weekend and I wanted to kind of talk about my impressions of the two schools that I'm at right now. I am currently, like I said, working at two different schools here. I'm working at a technical school, a HTL for short. I'm also working at a Gymnasium, which is sort of the same as what we would imagine our high schools back in the United States to be. So I'm going to talk with both of them, about both of them and what they really represent for the Austrian sorts of education that they have here, and what the differences are between what they do and what we do back in the States. So without further ado, let's go. So I'm going to start with the HTL first, which again stands for Höhere Technische Lehranstalt, which is the long name for a technical school. And these are students that are technically considered lower education. Not really, because they're all very smart kids. They just are technically minded as opposed to academically minded. So what that means is they have a lot of classes that are based on machinery technique. So they do a lot of technological stuff with machines. They have plastic formation and plastic molding. They're taking classes on welding, electronics, a lot of that stuff. That's their main focus for a lot of their classes. And from what I understand as well, they have to be in certain labs several hours or several times a week. So they practice their electronics building or their machinery building or their technical studies like that. They usually end up being in an English classroom twice a week. And that's sort of the same over at the other school as well, at the the Gymnasium. But it's different from us, where we would normally have it every day for 45 minutes. The students there would only have it for twice a week or so. So it's interesting for me because some of those students, only get an hour and a half of English practice a week, or they're only listening to those things every week, or twice a week, I should say. Whereas I took German classes every single day, and at least back in high school, and it wasn't so much in college that I took them every single day. I was usually doing Monday, Wednesdays, or Tuesday, Thursdays, but that's more of a university setting. This is definitely more of a high school setting. I'm also teaching night classes as well, and these are for individuals that are working and want to take classes on the side. So they're not necessarily younger kids. I've been teaching 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds even older than that, how to speak English. Well, not really how to speak English, but give them an opportunity to practice speaking English, or practice listening or hearing a native speaker speak English, and give them an idea of what exactly I'm talking about with this. The other thing that I'm doing a lot of is I'm trying to get these kids to talk. What I've noticed at the technical school especially is that some of the kids don't really talk all that much. I guess the reasoning behind that would just be because they feel that they're going to mess up. They feel that they're not going to speak perfect English, and I have to remind them, I don't speak perfect German. And even if I studied for 20 years and practiced speaking for 20 years, I'm probably never going to speak perfect German. And that's kind of the rub, I guess, is that no matter how good of a speaker you are, it's not necessarily going to be perfect. And I tell them all the time, even my English isn't perfect, which is, I guess, something that, we're all trying to work on a little bit. The teachers there, though, are very excited that I'm there, that I'm giving all of these lessons, and I'm teaching them about American culture, about the sorts of stuff that I'm interested in, that the teachers are interested in teaching, and some stuff that the students are interested in learning about me as well. Switching gears and going over to the Gymnasium, this is definitely more of a high school setting, a traditional high school setting that we are used to. My particular school has what we would call grades 5 through 12 in there, what they call 1st through 8th forms. So what we would call 5th grade back in the States would be first form there. These would be 10 and 11-year-olds. And then 2nd form would be 6th grade, starting middle school, 3rd form 7th grade, so on, until we get senior year of high school, which is the 8th form. And these 8th formers are practicing for their matura, which is essentially their graduate exam. They're doing, it's a lot of synthesis, it's a lot of speaking, it's sort of an interview type process from what I understand. And if there are any Austrians that are watching this and I'm getting some stuff wrong, please let me know, because the last thing I want to do is let people know wrong information about your country. That I really don't want that coming back to haunt me. But the big thing, I guess, about the Gymnasium is that these kids are, I don't want to say necessarily academically gifted, but they're more academically inclined, more so than the technical school. These kids have been learning English since 5th form, so by the time I get to see them in 6th, 7th, or 8th form, they're actually pretty comfortable with speaking the language more. It's not so much in their shell, they're actually blossoming and coming out quite a bit more, which is great, because then you can have bigger and better and more interesting and in-depth conversations with them. I actually just did a lesson today on mass media in the United States, and we were talking about whether or not monopolizing any industry is a good thing or not. What sorts of benefits social media can bring to all of these kids that haven't necessarily left their country or have gone to maybe Bosnia or Germany or Switzerland for vacation and don't really leave their little area of the world. And here I am 5,000 miles away. Hey! But in reality, I think it's interesting because these kids at both schools, they really enjoy having me around. I guess I'm just sort of a breath of fresh air for them. It's not just about learn. It's more about, okay, you get to listen to somebody who can speak the language, who is proficient in it, who's grown up with it. And it's, at least for me, it's interesting to see, mostly because I kind of had this minor celebrity status, and I'm not trying to, flaunt it or anything, but the kids recognize me in the halls, and they say, "Hey, what's up, Kevin?" I'm like, "Hey guys, how's it going?" And they're really friendly with me. They want to know everything about me. They want me to be their friend. And I mean, it's interesting because coming out of college as a teacher, wanting to go into education, one of the big taboos is don't be friends with your students. You want to be, a teacher first and a friend second. But at the same time, I think I'm in this weird position where I'm not quite a teacher. I'm also not quite a student anymore. So I'm in this weird middle ground, and I'm trying to not only connect with the students, but I'm also trying really, really hard to teach them and be a role model for these students and also for these teachers, because I'm bringing something that not all of them can emulate or offer. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the whole thing. One other point, I had a request to talk about animals in Austria. There are a lot of people that have dogs, which is nice. There's actually one co-worker of mine at the Gymnasium, which it's interesting because she's not blind or anything. It's not like a helper dog, but she actually has like a little dog that follows her around, and she takes it to classes, and the kids love it. I think she works with mostly younger kids, and I don't know her name because I haven't worked with her, but I've seen the dog, and it's just kind of like, hey, little doggy, and everybody's like, yeah, it's a dog. It's a small thing though. I'm not good with dog breeds. They are a little bit more liberal with people bringing dogs out in public. I've seen people bring like their little handbag dogs into shopping malls and stuff like that. Nobody really yells at them as long as they don't like crap on the floor or something like that. But that hasn't been a problem from what I've seen. I haven't seen any squirrels, but then again, I'm also in sort of a more industrial part of Kapfenberg, which is the city that I'm located in. So it could be that there are animals around. They're just not where I'm at because there really isn't quite all that much nature right where I'm at. I'm kind of in the middle of the industrial center, and then Old Town's a couple minutes by bus away, and then there's a little bit of nature before you hit Brook. But I'm rambling. I know I have a tendency to do that, so I'm going to stop rambling. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in. If you liked it, please leave a comment. Please leave questions and what have you in either Facebook or the comments below, and I'll get to what I can in the next video. So thank you for listening, and auf Wiedersehen. Till next time.